Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my January wrap up and my February TBR. So for January I ended up reading 6 books. The first book I finished was an audiobook, Nevernight by J. Kristoff. This was the first J. Kristoff novel that I read or experienced at all. I didn't really know anything about it going into it, just that it's super popular. A lot of people seem to love it. I decided to listen to it on audio, and we started it over just the tail end of the holidays in December. We were doing a bunch of driving, traveling all around, visiting a bunch of people, and I just said, hey, let's listen to an audiobook, and that was the one I chose. It was amazing. I loved it. And the first chapter kind of just made my jaw drop. I didn't know what I had gotten us into. It's not typically a type of book that we tend to read, so I was like, uh-oh. But just the story is so interesting, and assassin school, how can that like not just fascinate you? So it's about Mia Corveri. She is a teenage girl whose sole purpose in life is to avenge the deaths of her parents and her brother, and she trains with her master for 8 years, and then she goes off to the Red Church to devote her life into learning how to become an assassin. And it's all about just the trials and just the relationships between her and the other acolytes. And it's just a great book. It just kind of sucked us in. Even though there were lots of parts of the book that we were like, that's a little much for us. It was still really good, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I finished was Royal Holiday by Jasmine Gilroy. I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing her last name. I decided I wanted to read this book. It was over the Christmas holiday. I had hoped to finish this in December, but I just didn't get a chance to, so I did finish it in January, which is why I'm including it in my January wrap-up. This is just a cute, contemporary romance story about Vivian and Malcolm. Vivian goes to London with her daughter, who happens to be working with the Duchess for her wardrobe, and Vivian goes along and meets Malcolm, and then we just kind of follow them on their little love story. So it was a cute story. It was I wouldn't say it's a quick read. It is a quick read, but I ended up putting it down for a couple weeks because it got a little slow in the middle, and I became a little disinterested, and I finished it because I was determined to. When I picked it back up, I just flew through it. So it is a quick read, but I wouldn't necessarily say that it kept my attention for a very long time. So I gave it 3 out of 3 stars. It was cute. I'm not mad I read it. And I know that this is part of like a series of books. I haven't read any of those, so I may have been more invested had I read the others, but it was still good and it was cute, so you should check it out. The next book that I'm going to talk about is The Guinevere Deception by Kiersten White. This is a This is an Arthur and Guinevere retelling. This is the first kind of retelling that I've ever read. I'm not super familiar with the story of Arthur and Camelot. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't watched The Sword in the Stone. I think the only Camelot movie I've ever watched is The First Night, that was made like back in the 90s with Richard Gere. I don't know if any of you know who that is. Richard Gere, Sean Connery. So that was the only reference I had. So some of the twists that are in this book I didn't necessarily pick up on right away. Some of them I did. So yay for me. I thought it was interesting. I didn't exactly know how I felt about this book after I read it. I liked it. I thought it was entertaining. I definitely will pick up the sequel of this book, just because I want to know how it ends. I think that it started off strong, but then just kind of fell flat a little bit for me in the middle and kind of towards the end. There was a reveal that I didn't see coming because I'm not familiar with the story at all, and it kind of blew my mind. But otherwise, it was fine. I think the title, Guinevere Deception, is very accurate. There's so much deception going on in this book. I was a little bit too like, well, that can't be true. Oh, there's something going on there. And so I think that took away a little bit from my enjoyment of this story. But I still liked it. So I gave this one 3 stars as well. The next book we completed was God's Grave by Jay Kristoff. This is the sequel to Nevernight, and we listened to this one on audio as well. I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. I didn't like it as much as I enjoyed Nevernight, but it continues the story of Mia Coveri and what happens after her experience in the Red Church. Not going to give too much of a synopsis away, because if you haven't read it, then you'll know what happens, and I'm not trying to be like that. So it was really good. I think that there were some things that were more amplified in the second book that I didn't necessarily love, but it was still interesting. Just a note that this book does go between 2 different timelines. In the first third, Jay Kristoff splits the whole book into like different books. So book 1, book 2, book 3. Am I explaining that well enough? I don't know. But in book 1 of God's Grave, it goes back and forth between 2 different timelines. And because we were listening to it on audio, we were like, wait, what are we doing now? Where are we now? What's going on? And so it was a little bit difficult for us to get into it completely. But once you get to the second book, the timelines converge and you're in present time again, and it was so much better after that. So 4 out of 5 stars. Still enjoyed it. Yeah, definitely give it a shot. The next book that I completed in January was Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, the illustrated edition. I don't know why it took me so long to pick this one up. But I'm so glad that I finally did. However, if you are similar to Ron and you do not like spiders, I am just giving you a warning now. There may be some in here. I'm just saying. There's a lot in here. Otherwise, I love this book. 5 out of 5 stars because I have to. I have to give every Harry Potter book 5 out of 5 stars because I love it so much. But I had a smile on my face the entire time I read this. I have not reread this series since my first read of the book. And I think that was in the early 2000s. So I really just love visiting this world again, and reading the illustrated edition has been so fun for me. So I think I finished it in 2 days. I was so excited. So 5 out of 5 stars. Check it out. And the last book I completed in January was Solo by Kwame Alexander. I audiobooked this from Scribd, and I knew about this book from Book Outlet. I was surfing Book Outlet one day and stumbled upon it. I put it in my cart, and then I never bought it, and it sold out. So I was just looking for an audiobook to listen to at the last week of January. I really wanted to get one more book under my belt. Didn't have a lot of time to sit down and physically read. And I found this one on Scribd, and I said, yes, I'm going to listen to it. It is a very, very quick listen. It's only 4 hours long. Kwame Alexander's writing is very poetic. So if you like that style of writing, this is definitely a book that you want to check out. And checking out an audio, I think, is going to give it an extra level of enjoyment. It definitely did for me. Just the way that he narrated this book, I think just put it to another level. It's about Blade, who is a teenager. He's a son of a famous rock star, and we follow him through some trials and tribulations, I guess, of his relationship with his father and his family. And he goes on kind of a discovery quest of himself, and he is also musically inclined, and I was very surprised to hear that there was some music included in the audiobook. So if this is a book that you want to check out, I would go the audio route, because I just feel like you might miss a little bit if you do a physical read. But it was really great. I give it 3.5 stars. I just really enjoyed it. Okay, so on to my TBR for February. Now, I need to be very honest with you. I am a huge mood reader. So I might put these books on my TBR, and next month when we talk, none of them might be on there. I don't know. I'm just saying. I allow myself that flexibility, because if I keep myself to a list and a TBR and I'm not feeling it, I will get into a huge slump, and I just don't want to do that this year. So this is my TBR for February. First book is going to be Keeper of Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger. I am doing a buddy read of this with my niece and nephew. We are almost finished with this book. We had to stop reading it for a little bit just for various reasons, but we're going to get back into it, and we're going to definitely finish this in February. I'm not sure if we're going to get into the second book. I ordered it and it's not here yet, so we're just waiting on that. But definitely this is going to get finished in February, and I'm really excited. This is about a 13-year-old girl named Sophie who finds out that she is an elf, and it just follows her on her discovery of what that means and all the magic and the different world. And it's really enjoyable. It's a middle grade. It is written for younger kids. My niece and nephew are 10 and 12, and they've really enjoyed this book. Lots of jokes that they understand and they laugh at, and they've corrected me on some pronunciation. So it's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it, and I think reading it with them has really given this a special place in my heart. So this is going to be finished in February. The next book I hope to pick up is Crown of Feathers by Nikki Palparetto. Yes? No, hopefully. This is about Phoenix writers. That's pretty much all I know. This is highly recommended from Peru's Project. I'll link her channel down below. But she basically loves this book, and the sequel is coming out soon, and so I really wanted to read this book now so that I could pick up the sequel, because I think I'm really going to like it. We'll see. I don't know. But this is on my TBR. The next book is Love Boat Taipei. I've just discovered this book. It's really popular. I know that Barnes & Noble, this was their book of the month or something for the book club or something like that. And I just happened to come across it at the store and said, yes, please, I will purchase this. This is about a girl who goes to a school or a camp or something in Taiwan for the summer, and it's really her first experience away from her parents and exploring life and independence. And I think I'm really going to identify with this book. I can certainly understand obligation to your parents and making them proud, and self-discovery and figuring out who you are, and then going back to your parents afterwards and trying to convince them that what you want to do is good. So I am excited for this book. I think I'm really going to identify it. Can't wait. I have other books on my TBR, but I'm not going to share them with you right now because I am going to participate in the Blacklit challenge hosted by the Artisan Geek. I'm going to have those books in another video, so that will be coming to you soon, and I'll have all of the information there. But it is 5 more books, and I'm a I'm a little nervous. I cannot believe that I have 8 books that I want to read in February. I've never read that many books before in a month, ever. So we will see how it goes. So that's it for my January wrap up and my February TBR. Thanks for joining me. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button down below and like this video if you liked it. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!